I worked with Taylor Swift and her team for 2 years, and I learned 3 key lessons that leveled up my ability to convince executives to invest in my ideas, work with high-level clients, and how to build a 1% online brand. And I will say that I was especially surprised by the last lesson I learned from Taylor because it's something that so many brands and celebrities just completely ignore. Now, this first lesson was the reason that I was able to meet Taylor Swift. And it's the same strategy that will help you land high-profile clients and opportunities. So let me take you back to the moment that everything completely changed. The year was 2007, and I was not in a garage building the next billion-dollar tech company, and I wasn't at some high-profile Hollywood premiere. I was in a stale, fluorescent-lit boardroom at MTV standing in front of 14 executives who had seen every imaginable pitch. But they weren't looking for innovation. They were just looking for any reason to say no. And I had to convince them that my idea, the one I poured everything into and believed in, was worth a chance. Because the thing is, I had seen something that no one else had. At the time, everyone was scrambling to figure out social media. And at the time, Fox had bought MySpace for over $580 million. And the only way to monetize social media at the time was through banner ads and corporate partnerships. But you see, they were missing the real opportunity. Real people, were already sharing branded content for free. They were posting movie trailers, covers of their favorite albums, and logos of brands that they loved on their personal MySpace profiles. But here's the kicker. People weren't being paid for that. They did it because they truly wanted to be associated with the things that they loved and share them with all of their friends. And I truly couldn't believe that no one was monetizing this phenomenon. Social media companies weren't making any money from this activity. The most valuable form of advertising at the time was happening right under their noses. But I wasn't gonna simply let this slip by. So I built a prototype, a platform that wouldn't just advertise content, but would let real people share what they love and get paid when their friends engaged with it. Now, this seems like common sense today. We all know influencer marketing, and it's a truly powerful industry that's projected to do $24 billion in 2025 alone. But at the time, this was something that was truly new, and it was a fundamental shift in how movies, music, and brands could spread online. But that didn't mean the executives at MTV would see it the same way. So there I was, standing in that boardroom, walking them through the concept, knowing full well I was up against decades of industry inertia. I could see it in their faces, their arms crossed, silent skepticism. Then I finished my pitch. The room went completely still. Seconds passed, nothing. Then finally, one voice caught through all the tension. I see it. One person, just one person, and that's all that I needed. Because game-changing ideas, they just don't get applause in the beginning. They get resistance. The real key isn't getting everyone to believe in your vision. It's finding that one hook point that will make one person take a chance on you. A hook point is a key idea, phrase, or positioning that grabs attention and makes you stand out in a crowded market. But it's not just about being different. It's about framing your message in a way that aligns with what your audience already wants or needs. In this case, my hook point wasn't, I built a new ad platform for social networks, because that would have been ignored. Instead, my hook point was that people are already sharing branded content organically on their social media profiles. What if you could be the one to take that asset and monetize it and break through and revolutionize advertising for the next century? That one shift in framing made a skeptical executive pause. It made them consider a better way to do what they were already trying to do. But how do you put that into practice in your life, brand, or business? Well, here are 3 simple steps to follow. Number 1, identify the biggest challenge in your area of expertise. What is the core problem your audience or industry struggles with? Number 2, identify patterns. Look at how others in your space are already marketing and discussing similar solutions. Then make a list of your headlines, titles, and hooks in a Google Doc. Look for the patterns. Are you repeating the same structure as others? If so, flip it on its head, subvert expectations, and test unexpected angles to stand out. Now, a bonus, you can try and use ChatGPT to generate variations and uncover fresh ideas in your ideation process. Now, number 3, test your hook point. Share it, and if people don't immediately get it, try and refine it. To get more detailed step-by-step on how to test your hook point, you can get my book Hook Point in the description below. This exact process led me to licensing deals, deeper partnerships, and ultimately a meeting to discuss another game-changing technology with Taylor Swift herself. So when I first met with Taylor Swift's team, I thought it would be super simple. It'd be one meeting, we'd have a deal, and it would be done. After all, I knew the prototype we created was a game changer. This technology would allow Taylor to update her website in seconds instead of waiting 48 hours for minor edits from her development team. Now, this might not sound like a big deal because today most websites can be updated this quickly, but in 2009, that just wasn't possible. But you see, the real challenge wasn't technical here. It was navigating the people in the room. And there were a lot of people in the room. Before I even got to Taylor, I had to go through a maze of meetings. First her record label, then her father, then her mother, and then her agents. Each had their different priorities, their own concerns, and their definition of success. And here's the kicker. They weren't all aligned. Now, her father, he wanted to talk about revenue streams. The label, they were obsessed with album sales. Her mother, she cared about safety and trust. And Taylor, she wanted the creative freedom to connect with her fans on her own terms. Now, I quickly realized that this was not going to be a one-size-fits-all pitch. If I walked in with a generic presentation, I would just completely fail. So I tailored my approach and developed it for each decision maker. For her father, it was how the platform could drive e-commerce and maximize revenue. For her mother, it was about how it could bring security, transparency, and control. For the record label, it was about how her data proved that fan engagement could boost album sales. Now, every pitch was an adjustment. I just wasn't selling a product, I was solving a puzzle, piece by piece. And then came Taylor. By the time I sat across from her, I had gathered enough information from everyone else to know exactly what she cared about and what she didn't. Now, I knew that Taylor didn't want to hear about revenue models or corporate strategy. She truly wanted to feel in control of her brand. So instead of pitching, I just handed her the mouse. I said, Taylor, show me what you want to change. Then she clicked, and the website's background completely changed. Then she clicked again, the navigation updated instantly. For the first time, she didn't have to wait for a developer. She didn't have to wait hours or days. She didn't have to go through a slow, outdated system. She was completely in control. And her excitement, it was immediate. Not because I told her about what the technology could do, but because I let her experience it for herself firsthand. And that's when it truly hit me. Connection isn't enough. Tailored connection is everything. Getting people to know, like, and trust you is not about just walking into a room and forcing your vision onto people. It's about understanding their needs and shaping your message to align with what they truly care about. That's why every single meeting mattered. The conversations with her father and mother, they weren't just stepping stones to Taylor. They were the foundation of trust that made her believe in us. But this approach didn't just seal the deal with Taylor Swift. It's the strategy that I've used ever since. It even created the opportunity to create a technology platform for Rihanna and her fan initiative. And it's also how we've had an opportunity to work with clients like IKEA, Skechers, Paramount Pictures, Lionsgate, and Adriana Lima. So the key takeaway is don't try and sell everyone the same exact vision. Before any pitch or meeting or proposal, identify the key people that are involved and tailor your approach to their specific priorities. So ask yourself, what does this person truly care about? Is it revenue, trust, efficiency, growth? And how can I position my idea as the solution to their specific needs and goals? Because at the end of the day, the right message to the right person opens doors faster than the best pitch in the world. Lesson number 3, turning fans into advocates. Now let me tell you the real reason that Taylor Swift became a global powerhouse and why this lesson completely changed the way that I build brands today. By the time that I sat down with Taylor, she wasn't yet the global icon that we know and love today. But anyone who met her knew that she was headed for something big. But what no marketing expert or executive could have predicted was the secret weapon behind her meteoric rise. And this, it wasn't just about talent. It wasn't just about great music. It was something so simple yet so powerful that it transformed casual listeners into lifelong fans. Now, this is an essential social media principle, and here it is. Now, most people think that social media is a one-to-many platform, but in reality, it's a one-to-one platform. And here's what I mean. When you're watching social media, we're typically sitting by ourselves on our phone. We're laying in bed, on the couch, on the train, whatever it may be. But most people, when they're creating content for social media, are communicating as if they're standing on stage and speaking to hundreds or thousands or even millions of people. That you see this all the time. They're saying, hey, you, or hey, everybody. But that truly hurts performance because it doesn't create that sense of closeness or connection to the other person on the other side of the screen. So what you should do is talk to your audience as if you're talking to a single person on the other side of the screen. But there's a deeper layer to this notion. And Taylor, she was able to execute this better than anyone else, to create not just a fan base, but a movement. And this might make you skeptical. I know I was. At first, I thought this one-on-one engagement was just good branding, maybe even a smart PR move. But the more I worked on her projects, the more I realized that this wasn't a strategy. It was who she was. She would stay hours after concerts signing autographs. She would respond to fans on her social media herself. She would even show up at fans' bridal showers, birthdays, and weddings. But here's the kicker. Taylor would also capture these moments and share them on social media, showing fans that she truly cared. Subliminally, fans could see that even though Taylor wasn't able to connect one-on-one with all of them, she truly did care about each and every one of them as an individual. And that is what made people fall in love with her. But if you're not convinced on how these type of connections can make your brand 10 times stronger, let me prove it with something that happened while I worked with Taylor. During the relaunch of Taylor Nation, we discovered something that was truly surprising. A small group of 30 super fans actually took the time to teach themselves how to code just so that they could build their own Taylor Swift fan sites, and they weren't getting paid anything. And remember, this was back in 2009, where creating a website took a lot of time, knowledge, energy, and resources to pull off. They just loved her music so much that they wanted to spread it to the world. And that gave me an idea. What if we gave every fan that exact same power? So we built a tool that allowed any fan to turn their Facebook profile into a fully functional Taylor Swift fan site in under 60 seconds. With no coding or anything, they simply had to click a button. And the results, they were insane. Those 30 fan sites turned into 35,000 in just a few months. And fans weren't just engaging with Taylor's brand, they were becoming a part of it. They were creating, sharing, and promoting her message on her own. And that's when I realized a brand with followers can grow, but a brand with advocates becomes unstoppable. If you want to build a brand that lasts, getting followers isn't enough. You need advocates, people who don't just consume your content, but they share it, amplify it, and defend it. Advocates don't just watch from the sidelines. They spread your message. They introduce you to new audience, and they fight for your brand when you're not in the room. And the best part, you don't need millions of dollars to create them. Taylor didn't rely on big ad campaigns or huge marketing budgets. Her success was built on sharing small personal moments that made people feel seen and turned them into lifelong supporters. And when you focus on building real connections instead of just gaining followers, you stop building an audience and you start building a movement. But how do you actually put this into practice? The secret is to focus on switching the mindset of your content from one-to-many to one-to-one. So create content that directly addresses the viewer. The most powerful way to do this is to predict what the viewer will think. Here's what I mean. Before your audience questions you, answer what they are already thinking. For example, if your idea sounds bold, say, I know this sounds crazy, but here is exactly why it works. This builds instant trust because when people feel understood, they stay engaged. And that way, it'll be easier for you to start building a movement for your brand because when people feel personally connected to you, they don't just follow, they fight for you. Although this last lesson has the power to help you build a powerful and engaged brand, you still need to learn a few more things to put this into practice. To create content that people love to watch until the end, then you need to find the right format and idea that works for you. Just like Tanner, a leather craftsman who started sharing his passion online and generated 800,000 followers and 100 million views in just 6 months. If you want to see exactly how he did it and how you can do the same, I put together a full breakdown of the process and you can watch it here.